Do you love me? Human. The alien ship hovered above the small town of Riverdale silently, like a metallic cloud blocking the summer sun. Kaya watched from the bridge as humans scattered like ants below her. Some ran while others stood frozen, staring up at the massive vessel that had appeared without warning in their skies. She had studied humans for decades, learning their languages, customs, and emotions, but nothing compared to seeing them in person. Their reactions fascinated her especially, their fear. It was not the first contact between their species, but in this remote area, the humans were unprepared for visitors from beyond their atmosphere. Commander Lexi approached, standing beside Kaya at the viewing port. You seem interested in these particular humans. They show such raw emotion. Kaya replied, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. I have never witnessed such authentic reactions. The tall commander nodded, her iridescent scales shifting colors with the movement. You have been studying them for too long, I think. You have developed an attachment. Kaya did not deny it. Her species, the Zorani, were known for their logical approach to exploration and their emotional detachment. But something about humans had always drawn her in, perhaps, their passionate nature so different from her own people. The mission was simple: collect data on human settlements in preparation for potential diplomatic relations. Their species had made contact with Earth governments 5 years ago, but rural, human populations remained largely uninformed. This mission would help determine how to proceed with wider public disclosure. Permission to join the ground team commander. Kaya requested. Lexi tilted her head, her antenna twitching with surprise. You are our leading xenoanthropologist, not a field agent. I have the most extensive knowledge of human behavior. Kaya countered. I can ensure smooth interaction if we encounter resistance. After brief consideration, Lexi approved the request. Kaya felt a flutter of excitement in her secondary heart as she prepared for surface deployment. She selected human-appropriate attire from their extensive collection of Earth garments, choosing a simple outfit that would blend with local fashion. Her natural form, while humanoid enough with 2 arms and legs, would immediately mark her as non-human. Her reflective blue skin, 4 eyes, and delicate scaling would terrify the very subjects she wished to study. The transformation chamber activated, coating her body with synthetic human skin. Her extra set of eyes retracted, her scales flattened, and her height reduced by nearly a foot. When she emerged, she appeared completely human with olive skin, brown eyes, and dark hair. Only another Zorani would notice the slight stiffness in her movements. The ground team deployed in a small shuttle landing in a clearing just outside the town. Kaya and 2 other disguised Zorani agents approached the settlement on foot, while others monitored from above. The town was small by human standards, just a few thousand inhabitants. Their arrival had caused considerable disruption, with many residents hiding indoors, while local authorities attempted to maintain order. A small crowd had gathered at the town square, discussing the ship overhead. Kaya listened carefully to their conversations. My cousin in Portland said they came there last year. A woman named Molly spoke, her voice trembling. They just observed for a few days, then left. What do they want? Another woman named Kelly asked. Maybe they want to study us. A man suggested, are they friendly? The humans debated while Kaya and her team circulated through the crowd, collecting data on responses and reactions. Her fellow agents focused on recording, while Kaya found herself drawn into conversation with a human woman who stood apart from the others. The woman introduced herself as Diane. She appeared calm, unlike most others, watching the sky with curiosity rather than fear. You don't seem frightened. Kaya observed. Diane smiled. Should I be? Most of your people are. Well, Diane said. Whoever they are, they haven't attacked yet. That tells me something. What does it tell you? Kaya asked, genuinely curious that they might be here to learn. Just like us when we encounter something new. Kaya felt a strange sensation in her chest. She had studied human emotions for years, but experiencing them in person through her altered physiology was different. Diane was perceptive in a way that surprised her. Are you from around here? Diane asked. Kaya hesitated. Just visiting. Diane nodded with a knowing look. You picked an interesting day to visit. Over the next hours, Kaya continued her observation, but found herself repeatedly returning to Diane. Their conversations flowed naturally, and Kaya discovered herself sharing more than her mission parameters permitted. She spoke of stars and worlds beyond Earth, using hypotheticals that Diane seemed to see through. You know something about them, don't you? Diane eventually asked, gesturing toward the ship. What makes you think that? The way you talk. The questions you ask. It's different. Kaya should have returned to the ship immediately. Protocol demanded it when cover was potentially compromised. Instead, she suggested they walk to a quieter location away from the crowd. Why aren't you afraid? Kaya asked again when they were alone. Diane considered the question. Because fear closes doors, I prefer to keep them open. And she added with a smile. Because you have kind eyes. The comment triggered something in Kaya. A warmth that spread through her altered form. She had studied human connection but never expected to experience it firsthand. Their conversation continued as day turned to evening. Kaya sharing carefully selected information about cosmic civilizations while Diane spoke of human dreams and hopes. The connection between them grew stronger with each passing hour. When Kaya's communicator signaled it was time to return, she felt reluctance. For the first time in her career, she considered compromising her mission. Do you believe there could be understanding between such different beings? Kaya asked. Between your people and those above. Diane reached out, touching Kaya's hand. I believe understanding begins with individuals, not species. The touch sent sensations through Kaya's synthetic skin that her research had never prepared her for. Looking into Diane's eyes, she asked the question that had formed in her mind over their hours together. Do you love me, human? The question surprised them, both hanging in the air between them. Kaya immediately regretted the words. They violated every protocol and revealed her non-human perspective. No human would phrase such a question that way after a single meeting. Diane studied her face closely, a slow smile forming. Yes, she answered simply. I think I could. Kaya hadn't expected that response. Her scientific detachment faltered, replaced by something new and frightening and wonderful. The following morning, the Zerani research team met to discuss their findings. Most reported fear and panic among the humans they observed, with some instances of aggression. When it came to Kaya's turn, she found herself downplaying her interaction with Diane, mentioning only that she had engaged with a human who showed unusual acceptance. Agent Nari, another xenoanthropologist, spoke up. You spent considerable time with one subject. Did you gain any useful insights? Kaya hesitated. She had gained insights, but they were personal, conflicted with her scientific training. The data she had collected was tainted by her emotional response. They are more adaptable than we anticipated, she said finally. Even in the face of the unknown, some can respond with curiosity rather than fear. It suggests that wider disclosure might be received better than our models predicted. Commander Lexi considered this. We will need more data from various human settlements before making recommendations to the High Council. We remain here 3 more cycles before moving to the next location. Kaya felt a rush of relief. 3 more cycles meant 3 more Earth days. 3 more opportunities to see Diane again. When the meeting concluded, Kaya approached Lexi requesting permission to continue field research. Lexi agreed but assigned Nari to accompany her. The commander had noticed something in Kaya's behavior, a subtle change that warranted observation. Later that day, Kaya and Nari returned to the town disguised as humans. The atmosphere had shifted from panic to wary acceptance. The alien ship remained overhead, but people had begun to resume their daily activities, albeit with frequent glances. Skyward, Kaya searched for Diane, finding her at a small building that served beverages. Diane spotted her immediately and waved her. Over, her smile sent an unexpected jolt through Kaya's system. Nari watched with interest as the human greeted Kaya with obvious familiarity. You made quite an impression, she commented. I tried to blend in. Kaya replied. I meant on the human. Nari clarified. Kaya introduced Nari as her colleague, and the 3 sat together. Diane asked questions about their work, which they answered with carefully constructed half-truths about being researchers, studying community responses to unusual events. Nari observed the interaction with growing concern, noting how Kaya leaned toward the human. How her speech patterns shifted to match Diane's, how her eyes rarely left the human's face. These were all signs of emotional attachment strictly forbidden during research missions. When Diane excused herself momentarily, Nari confronted Kaya. "You have compromised yourself," she said, keeping her voice low. "You are experiencing emotional transference, a known risk when studying emotive species like humans. I am conducting research as instructed," Kaya replied defensively. Nari shook her head. "No, you are forming a bond. This is dangerous, not just for the mission, but for you. The human cannot know what you are. The consequences would be severe." Before Kaya could respond, Diane returned, suggesting they visit the town's observation point, where people were gathering to watch the ship as night fell. The three walked together with Nari, carefully monitoring every "Do you love me?" human that night aboard the ship. Kaya could not achieve proper rest cycle. Her thoughts kept returning to Diane and the strange connection between them. Nari's warning echoed in her mind. Emotional bonds with research subjects were forbidden, and with good reason. Such attachments clouded judgment and compromised data, but there was something about Diane that defied clinical analysis. The human had seen through her disguise, not completely, but enough to sense her otherness, and instead of fear, Diane had responded with acceptance. It challenged everything Kaya thought she knew about human nature. The next morning, Commander Lexi summoned Kaya to the command center. Nari was already there, her expression grave. "Agent Nari has expressed concerns about your fieldwork," Lexi began. "You appear to be developing inappropriate attachment to a subject." Kaya maintained her composure. "This human shows unusual receptivity to the concept of extraterrestrial life. She could provide valuable insights for our disclosure protocols. Is that why you asked if she loved you?" Nari challenged. Kaya felt heat rising to her face, a human reaction her altered body had adopted. "I was testing emotional response patterns," she defended, knowing how weak the explanation sounded. Commander Lexi studied Kaya. Her primary eyes narrowed. "You are our most experienced xenoanthropologist. Your work has always been exemplary, but I cannot ignore signs of compromise. I am reassigning you to data analysis. You will remain aboard the ship." The decision was logical, Kaya knew this. But something inside her rebelled against the cold rationality that had always guided her work. Before she could stop herself, she spoke. "The human Diane has intuited our presence. She suspects I am connected to the ship. If I disappear suddenly, it could trigger suspicion. Continuation of contact would be the prudent course." Lexi considered this. "You make a reasonable point, but I cannot risk further compromise. Agent Nari will continue contact with this human to maintain consistency. You will provide support remotely." It was the best outcome Kaya could hope for, but it felt hollow. Later in her private quarters, she reviewed footage Nari had collected during their interaction, with Diane studying the human's expressions and body language, looking for what exactly she wasn't sure. Perhaps confirmation that what she had felt wasn't merely a product of her altered physiology. A notification chimed, indicating Nari was preparing for surface deployment. Kaya joined her in the preparation chamber. "Be careful with her," Kaya said as Nari entered the transformation unit. "The subject asked about you," Nari reported. "She wanted to know where you were staying. I told her you had work, obligations." Kaya felt an unexpected pang. Diane had asked about her. "What did she say exactly?" Nari gave her a knowing look. "She said she hoped to see you again before you leave town. She seems quite taken with your human form. Will you tell her I also wish to see her again?" Kaya requested before she could consider the impropriety. "You know I cannot relay personal messages," Nari replied, "but I will note her continued interest in you for the research record." After Nari departed, Kaya accessed the surface monitoring systems. Following Nara's signal, she watched as her colleague made contact with Diane at a small eating establishment. The human looked disappointed when she realized Kaya wasn't present. The observation made Kaya's secondary heart flutter through the monitoring system. Kaya could hear their conversation. Your friend isn't joining us, Diane asked. Kaya has responsibilities that keep her aboard, she nearly said before catching herself. She's tied up with work, Nari explained. Diane nodded. Is she a researcher? Like you, similar field, yes. Diane stirred her beverage thoughtfully. She sees things differently than you do. Nari tilted her head. In what way? She looks at people like she's trying to understand what's inside them, not just observe them. You look at people like you're counting them. Nari showed no reaction to this surprisingly accurate assessment. All research requires different perspectives. The conversation continued with Nari asking standard questions about human perception of extraterrestrial contact. Diane answered openly, but Kaya could see her enthusiasm had dimmed compared to their previous interaction. That evening when Nari returned, Kaya was waiting. The field agent appeared troubled. The human asked many questions about you. Nari reported. She believes you and I are not the same. What do you mean? She said we move differently, speak differently. That you seemed genuinely curious, while I seemed like I was following a script. She is unusually perceptive. Kaya felt a surge of something like pride. Did she say anything else? Nari hesitated. She asked if you would meet her tomorrow at the observation point at sunset. She said she has something important to discuss. Commander Lexi will never approve such a meeting, Kaya said. Which is why I didn't tell her, Nari replied. I told the human you would be there. Kaya stared at her colleague in shock. Why would you do that? Nari seemed uncomfortable. The human's insights about our differences were accurate. She perceives things others miss. Data from such a subject could be invaluable, but she responds primarily to you. The logical course is to continue that connection under controlled circumstances. It was not like Nari to bend protocols, but Kaya wasn't going to question this unexpected support. Thank you, she said simply. I will accompany you but remain at a distance, Nari added. We cannot risk further compromise. The next day, preparations for the meeting consumed Kaya's thoughts. She reviewed all data on Diane, searching for clues about what the human might want to discuss. The most likely scenario was questions about the ship and its origins. Questions Kaya could not honestly answer without violating disclosure protocols. When evening approached, Kaya entered the transformation chamber with mixed emotions. Commander Lexi was occupied with a communication to the High Council, allowing them to proceed without her knowledge, a serious breach of protocol. As the transformation completed, and her body once again took human form, Kaya felt a strange sense of rightness. The human disguise should have felt confining, but instead it felt like stepping into a favorite garment. Kaya and Nari took a small shuttle to the surface, landing discreetly in the woods outside town. They separated as planned, with Nari maintaining surveillance from a distance. The observation point was crowded with humans watching the ship. Kaya spotted Diane immediately, standing apart from the others, looking skyward. Her profile against the sunset created an image Kaya knew would remain in her memory. Diane turned, sensing her presence. The smile that lit her face caused an unexpected reaction in Kaya's body. Her heart rate increased, her breathing pattern changed. Primitive responses she had studied but never experienced with such intensity. You came, Diane said. I wanted to, Kaya replied with complete honesty. They moved to a quieter spot away from the crowd. Diane seemed nervous, unusual for her. I need to ask you something, Diane began, and I need you to be honest with me. Are you connected to them? She asked, gesturing toward the ship. The direct question caught Kaya unprepared. Her training provided clear protocols for such situations. Deny, deflect, distract. But looking into Diane's eyes, she found herself unwilling to deceive this human. Why do you ask? She countered, buying time. Because when I look at you, I see someone trying to understand us, not like other people. There's something in your eyes, sometimes like you're seeing everything. For the first time, Kaya remained silent, unsure how to respond without betraying her mission or betraying Diane's trust. I'm not afraid, Diane continued. I just want to understand. What's happening between us? Is it real, or am I part of some study? The question pierced through Kaya's scientific detachment. Through her earpiece, she could hear Nari warning her to maintain protocol. but the connection with Diane felt more real than anything she had experienced in decades of research. "What would you do if I," Kaya asked finally. "If I were connected to them," Diane stepped closer, "I would still feel the same way about you." "And how do you feel?" "Like I've been waiting to meet you my whole life," Diane whispered. "Like there's something between us that doesn't care about where we come from." Kaya knew she stood at a crossroads. Her entire career, her species' protocols, the mission itself, all demanded she protect the truth. But something stronger demanded honesty. "I cannot answer your question," she said at last. "Not because I don't want to, but because the answer has consequences beyond just you and me." Diane nodded slowly. "I understand." She reached out, taking Kaya's hand. "I don't need you to confirm anything. Just know that whatever you are, wherever you're from, I'm not afraid." The touch of Diane's hand sent warmth spreading through Kaya's body. The sincerity in the human's eyes broke down final barriers. "Do you love me, human?" Kaya asked again, the question that had first escaped her control. "Yes," Diane answered without hesitation. This time I'm sure. In that moment, standing beneath the ship of her people with her hand in Diane's, Kaya understood that her research into humanity had only skimmed the surface. The true depths could only be explored through connection, not observation. Through her earpiece, Kaya could hear Nari urgently warning her that Commander Lexi had discovered their unauthorized excursion and was sending security agents to retrieve them. "Time was running out. I have to leave," Kaya said. "But I will find a way to see you again." Diane squeezed her hand. "Is it dangerous for you to talk to me?" Kaya considered lying but couldn't. "Yes," she admitted. "It violates my PR, my rules. Then be careful." Diane said, "I don't want you in trouble because of me." The concern in Diane's voice touched Kaya deeply. It was further evidence of what she had begun to suspect, that humans' capacity for connection transcended boundaries in ways her people had never considered. "Do you love me, human?" Kaya paced her quarters, unable to achieve the meditative state her species used for rejuvenation. Diane's words echoed in her mind. "Whatever happens tomorrow, look for me here." What had she meant? Commander Lexi had ordered the ship to maintain position for 3 more cycles before moving to the next observation point, but something in Diane's tone suggested urgency. A soft chime indicated someone at her door. Kaya composed herself, expecting security agents instead. Nari entered, looking troubled. "The commanders ordered an emergency departure," she said. "We leave orbit at dawn." Kaya felt a surge of alarm. "That's not the mission schedule. Observation was planned for 3 more cycles. The mission parameters have changed." Nari explained, "Local authorities have detected our presence. Surveillance indicates increased military movement in the region. The High Council has ordered withdrawal to prevent escalation." Kaya struggled to process this information Diane had mentioned. Tomorrow, with unusual emphasis, had she known something was coming? "What about our research subjects?" Kaya asked, careful not to single out Diane. "Protocols require closure of observation loops." Nari shook her head. "There will be no further contact. The risk is too great." "This isn't right," Kaya argued. "Our mission was to assess human readiness for wider contact. Abandoning observation now will skew the data." Nari studied her with all 4 eyes. "You still don't see it, do you? This isn't about the research for you anymore. It's about her." Kaya didn't deny it. How had she, a senior xenoanthropologist with decades of field experience, become so compromised so quickly? The question troubled her analytical mind even as her emotional response pulled her toward the human. "I accessed your bio readings from your encounters with the human, Diane." Nari continued. "Your physiological responses indicate deep emotional engagement, far beyond research parameters." "I know," Kaya admitted. "This connection, it challenges everything we've assumed about interspecies bonds." Nari moved closer, lowering her voice. "The commander has ordered memory adjustments for the humans who had direct contact with us. Including Diane, memory adjustment was standard protocol when observation subjects became too aware of their observers. It was considered humane, preventing psychological distress from partial contact." But the thought of Diana's memories being altered filled Kaya with unexpected distress. She deserves better, Kaya said. Nari hesitated. It is scheduled for tonight before our departure. The technology requires proximity. I volunteered to handle her case personally. Kaya looked at her colleague with new understanding. You did this for me. Nari shifted uncomfortably. It is my assessment that your connection with this human has research value. The memory adjustment team leaves in 30 minutes. If you wish to say goodbye, you will need to move quickly. I can grant you access to a personal transport pod. It was an extraordinary offer, carrying extreme professional risk for both of them. Thank you, Kaya said, meaning it deeply. The small transport pod descended silently through clouds toward the darkened town. Kaya piloted manually, avoiding detection systems. Her mind raced with what she would say to Diane. How could she explain that tomorrow would come but she would not be there? That Diane would remember their conversations, but as dreams, not reality. Landing in the woods. Kaya activated her human disguise one final time. She moved quickly through the trees toward the observation point where they had agreed to meet. There was no guarantee Diane would be there. Waiting. Hours remained until their appointed time. But as she emerged from the tree line, Kaya saw her Diane sat, alone on a bench staring up at the ship. Her silhouette was unmistakable even in darkness. Kaya approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. Diane turned, sensing her presence. You came early, she said with a smile. So did you? Kaya replied, sitting beside her. I had a feeling I should, Diane explained. Then more urgently, something's happening, isn't it? The military vehicles have been passing through town all evening, Kaya nodded. Your government has detected our presence. We must leave. Diane absorbed this. You said we. The slip made Kaya tense, but there seemed little point in maintaining pretense now. Yes, she acknowledged, I am connected to the ship. Diane showed no surprise, I knew it. That first day. Something in your eyes, the way you spoke about cosmic civilizations. You seemed too certain and you weren't afraid. Diane shrugged. What good would fear do? It's not like I could change what's happening. I decided understanding was better. You are unusual among your kind. Kaya said. Diane laughed softly. Maybe. Or maybe most people would react the same way if given the chance. We're curious by nature. They sat in silence for a moment, watching the stars and the massive ship that hovered among them. Will I remember you? Diane asked suddenly. After you're gone, the question startled Kaya. How did you know it's what I'd do if I were you? Erase the evidence. Kaya felt a complex mixture of emotions. She had come to say goodbye but found herself unwilling to lie. I'm sorry. Standard protocol requires adjustment of memories in those who have had direct contact. Diane nodded, accepting this. I thought so. She turned fully toward Kaya. Can I ask for something first? Anything, Kaya said, meaning it. Show me who you really are. The request was unprecedented against every protocol. Revealing true Zorani form to an unauthorized human carried severe penalties. But sitting here with Diane in these final moments, protocol seemed meaningless. Are you certain? Kaya asked. My appearance is very different. Diane reached for her hand. I want to remember the real you. Even if only for a moment before I forget. Kaya glanced around, ensuring they were truly alone. Then she deactivated her disguise matrix. The transformation was gradual. Her height increased her skin, shifting from human tones to the reflective blue of her natural form. Her secondary set of eyes opened as her facial structure elongated slightly. Delicate scaling appeared along her neck and arms. Diane watched in fascination, reaching out slowly. May. Kaya nodded, and Diane gently touched her face, tracing the patterns of scales. You're beautiful, she whispered. No human had ever seen Kaya in her true form. The vulnerability of it was overwhelming. But Diana's acceptance was like nothing she had experienced in all her years of research. Can your people feel love? Diane asked, her hand still resting against Kaya's face. We have bonds, Kaya explained. but they are different based on compatibility of thought patterns, shared intellectual pursuits. What humans call love is considered a primitive response among my kind. And what do you consider it? Kaya thought carefully. Something I never understood until now. Diane smiled, tears forming in her eyes. Will you remember me when I'm gone with perfect clarity? Kaya promised, though she knew memory suppression would likely be part of her disciplinary process. They sat together as minutes passed, neither speaking, both aware of time slipping away. Finally, Kaya knew she could delay no longer. The adjustment team would be deploying soon. If she were discovered here in her true form, the consequences would extend beyond her to Nari, and potentially the entire mission. I must go, she said reluctantly. I know, Diane replied. But first, she leaned forward, pressing her lips gently against Kaya's, a kiss, a human gesture of affection Kaya had studied but never experienced. The sensation was electric, sending waves of warmth through her entire body. When they separated, Diane spoke softly. Remember that somewhere on this planet, someone loved you exactly as you are. Not as a research subject, not as an alien, but as yourself. The words penetrated deeper than any Kaya had heard in her long life. Reluctantly, she reactivated her human disguise. There is something you should know, she said, the memory adjustment. It will not erase everything, just reshape it. Into dreams, perhaps, or fiction. Your mind will protect itself. Is there any way to resist it? Diane asked. Kaya hesitated, then decided truth was the only gift she could offer. The process targets recent memories associated with us. Memories with strong emotional connections are more resistant. They sometimes resurface as intuitions or feelings. Diane nodded, understanding. Will it hurt? No, Kaya assured her. It's like falling asleep. Nothing. More in the distance, Kaya detected movement. The adjustment team was approaching. Her time had run out. I have to go now, she said, standing. You should return home. Sleep comes easier in familiar surroundings. Diane stood as well, looking up at the ship, one last time before turning to Kaya. Goodbye, she said simply. The words seemed inadequate, but Kaya could offer nothing better. Goodbye, Diane. As Kaya retreated into the shadows, she watched Diane walk away toward town, her human form moving with a grace that Kaya now appreciated in ways her research had never captured. Something inside her rebelled at the thought of those memories being reshaped, those connections severed. Back aboard the ship, Kaya avoided detection, returning to her quarters where Nari was waiting. Is it done? Nari asked. Yes. Kaya confirmed. Though not as intended, Nari did not ask for clarification, perhaps understanding that some details were better left unshared. The adjustment teams will return shortly. Then we depart orbit. Kaya moved to the viewing port, looking down at the small town that had changed everything. I request isolation chamber for recovery cycle, she said. Nari seemed surprised but nodded. I will arrange it. The isolation chamber was designed for deep meditation, allowing Zorani to process complex emotional states without external influence. It would shield Kaya from immediate questioning and give her time to compose herself before facing Commander Lexi and eventually the Ethics Council. Do you love me, human? 6 months passed since the Riverdale mission. Kaya stood before the Ethics Council, her case finally reaching judgment after extensive review. The chamber was imposing, designed to emphasize the gravity of proceedings, with 7 senior Zorani seated at an elevated platform, their scales shifting in muted colors of contemplation. You have violated fundamental research protocols, Council Leader Vera stated. Her voice was calm, but carried unmistakable disappointment. You engaged in unauthorized disclosure, formed inappropriate attachment to a research subject, and compromised mission security. How do you respond? Kaya had prepared extensively for this moment. My actions were unorthodox, she acknowledged, but they yielded insights, impossible to gain through traditional observation. Council member Toran leaned forward. We have reviewed your submitted report. Your claim is that humans possess greater capacity for acceptance than previously documented. Yes, Kaya confirmed. Much of Our understanding has been based on official government interactions or limited observation. Both skew toward caution or fear. The human Diane demonstrated that direct personal connection can overcome xenophobia, and you believe this justifies your protocol violations. Kaya chose her words carefully. I believe our protocols may require adjustment if we truly wish to understand humans. Their emotional responses cannot be fully measured from a distance. The council members exchanged glances there, antenna twitching in silent communication. Finally, Vera spoke. The council acknowledges the scientific value of your observations. However, protocol exists for important reasons. Your actions placed both yourself and the mission at risk. We cannot condone such behavior regardless of outcome. Kaya had expected this. The penalty for her actions typically included career termination and memory adjustment. She steeled herself for the sentence. However, Vera continued, your years of exemplary service and the unique nature of your findings have been considered. The council has decided on a modified sanction. You will be reassigned to the Research Analysis Division. Your field certification is revoked permanently. The sentence was lenient. Surprisingly so. Kaya maintained her composure, though relief flooded through her secondary heart system. She would retain her memories of Diane. There is one additional condition, Vera added. You will submit to partial memory review to ensure no emotional attachment remains that might compromise your future. Where Kaya felt cold dread. Memory review was not full adjustment but would allow council-appointed psychologists to examine and potentially modify emotional associations. Memory review could not erase facts, but could dull their emotional impact. Do you accept these terms? Vera asked. What choice did she have? Kaya nodded. I accept. 2 days later, Kaya reported to the medical facility for the procedure. The technician explained the process. Your factual memories will remain intact. Only emotional attachments that might compromise objectivity will be addressed. Kaya lay on the examination platform as sensors were attached to her head. The technician activated the system, and images began flowing across the monitor. Riverdale, the ship Diane. Their conversations, their final meeting. The kiss stopped. Nara's voice cut through the room. Kaya turned in surprise to see her former colleague standing in the doorway, with Council Member Toran. The technician looked confused. Council Member Toran approached, reviewing the memory scans with interest. I need to speak with Scientist Kaya privately. Toran instructed. When they were alone, Toran turned to Kaya. These memories have significant scientific value. They should not be adjusted. Kaya was confused. The council ordered review. Toran nodded. Our public ruling, yes. But some on the council believe your experience warrants deeper study. Agent Nari has been advocating on your behalf. Nari stepped forward. I reviewed all data from the Riverdale mission. The connection you formed with the human Diane. It defies our understanding of interspecies bonds. Such bonds were thought impossible. The implications for future contact are profound. Kaya hardly dared hope. What are you suggesting? Your memory review has been cancelled. Toran stated. Instead, you will join a new research initiative studying emotional transfer between species. Your experience will serve as primary data. The relief Kaya felt was overwhelming. Thank you, she said to both of them. There is more, Nari added. Council Member Toran has authorized a return mission to Earth. Kaya stared at them in shock. But the High Council suspended all Earth missions after Riverdale. A small research team only, Toran clarified. We need to understand if your experience was unique or if it can be replicated. And the human subjects? Kaya asked, trying to keep her voice neutral. All previous subjects had memory adjustment as required, Nari said. But there have been reports of resistance. Some humans, particularly those with strong emotional connections, have shown signs of memory recovery. Nari explained. Fragments, dreams, persistent feelings of recognition. The adjustment isn't permanent in all cases. Kaya tried to process this information, hope rising unbidden. Does that include the human Diane? Nari confirmed has shown significant resistance according to monitoring systems. She remembers, Kaya whispered. Not entirely, Toran cautioned. but enough to warrant investigation. Your connection may have created a bond the adjustment could not fully sever. This is scientifically unprecedented. When do we leave? Kaya asked. 3 cycles, Turan replied. But there are conditions. The mission is purely observational. You are not authorized for contact. Your role is advisory only. You will help us understand what occurred, but you will not engage directly. The conditions were strict, but Kaya accepted without hesitation. Even the possibility of seeing Diane again was more than she had dared hope for 6 months ago. The journey to Earth took several weeks. During transit, Kaya reviewed all data on memory adjustment resistance. The phenomenon was rare but documented in cases of extreme emotional connection. Most cases involved relationships between humans, but there were no recorded instances between species. That made Diane's case unique. Nari, now leading the research team, briefed the small crew as they approached Earth orbit. Our mission is to observe only the human Diane Rogers shows signs of memory resistance but remains unaware of the true nature of her experiences. We will monitor her remotely and assess the extent of recovery. The name struck Kaya Rogers. She had never known Diane's family designation. Hearing it now made the human seem more real somehow, more complete. The ship established orbit using advanced cloaking technology to avoid detection by Earth systems. Unlike the previous mission, they would remain completely hidden, their presence unknown even to government authorities. Kaya watched the viewing screens as they focused on the small town of Riverdale. It appeared unchanged, the rhythm of human life continuing as if their previous visit had never occurred. Initial scans located Diane. She still lived in the same dwelling, still followed similar routines, but bioscan readings indicated elevated stress patterns and disrupted sleep cycles. She is experiencing recovery dreams. Nari explained, a common symptom of adjustment resistance. The mind attempts to reconcile missing memories, creating stress. Can it be harmful? Kaya asked, concerned. Not typically. The human mind is surprisingly resilient. Nari assured her. Most subjects interpret the dreams as nothing more than dreams. Eventually, the dissonance fades, but not always. In rare cases, subjects become fixated, seeking meaning in the fragments. This appears to be happening with Diane Rogers. She has begun creating art based on her dreams. The viewing screen shifted, showing interior surveillance of Diane's dwelling. On the walls were dozens of paintings, all depicting variations of the Zerani ship or blurred figures with distinctive features that resembled Zerani physiology. And most striking, multiple portraits of a figure that was unmistakably Kaya, both in human disguise and in her natural form. She remembers, Kaya whispered. Fragments only, Nari cautioned. But yes, more than any subject we've studied. The connection you formed appears to have created resistance to the adjustment process. Is she in danger? Kaya asked. Not from the memories, Nari replied. But her behavior has drawn attention. Local authorities have noted her obsessive focus on extraterrestrial themes. Some neighbors have expressed concern about her mental state. Kaya felt responsibility weighing heavily. We did this to her. The memory adjustment was supposed to protect her. Instead, it's causing suffering. Nari studied the monitors. She seeks something she cannot name, a connection she feels but doesn't understand. For 3 days, they observed Diane, tracking her movements, monitoring her physical and emotional state. Kaya watched as the human visited the observation point each evening, staring skyward as if waiting. Sometimes she would bring her sketchbook, drawing images from her dreams. The behavior showed clear signs of memory resistance. On the 4th night, something changed. Diane came to the observation point, but instead of looking up, she placed something on the bench. A small object, then departed quickly. Enhance image, Nari instructed. The screen zoomed in, revealing a small figurine. It was a crude but recognizable representation of a Zerani in natural form. What is she doing? Nari wondered. Leaving a message. Kaya realized she knows something happened here. Something real. The discovery prompted emergency consultation with Council Member Turan, who had remained on homeworld. This level of resistance is unprecedented, Turan stated after reviewing the data. The memory adjustment has clearly failed. What are our options? Nari asked. Do you love me? Human Kaya stared at the drawing, her training battling with emotion. Through her concealed earpiece, she could hear Nari warning her to maintain protocol distance, to redirect the conversation away from recognition. But seeing the evidence of Diane's memories preserved despite adjustment challenged everything. The dreams, Kaya asked carefully. When did they start? Diane closed the sketchbook 6 months ago. After the lights in the sky. Everyone saw them. But afterward, people stopped, talking about it like it never happened, but I couldn't forget I kept dreaming. The ship, Kaya said, keeping her tone conversational. Diane studied her face. Yes. And someone I met. Someone not from here. Her hand moved unconsciously to her lips, then away, as if the gesture itself confused her. In her earpiece, Nari spoke urgently. She remembers the kiss. Physiological responses confirm it. This goes beyond fragmented recall. She has retained emotional imprinting. Do the dreams frighten you? Kaya asked, ignoring. Nara's warning to disengage. Diane shook her head. No, that's the strange part. They should be scary, but instead they feel like memories, not dreams. Something important that I lost. She leaned forward, lowering her voice. People think I'm obsessed, delusional. My sister wanted me to see someone, a therapist, but these dreams, they feel more real than anything. Kaya struggled, maintaining protocol distance. Tell me about the person in your dreams. The one who looks like me. Diane hesitated, as if sorting through fragments. She was different. Curious about everything. Asked questions no one else would ask. She made me feel seen. And there was something about her eyes. Something not quite human. She flushed at her own words. Sorry, that sounds crazy. Not at all, Kaya assured her. Many people report unusual dreams after extraordinary events. But these aren't just dreams. Diane insisted with sudden intensity. I have proof. Kaya's pulse quickened. What kind of proof? Diane reached into her bag, pulling out a small object, wrapped in cloth. When she unwrapped it, Kaya barely contained her shock. It was a scale. A Zerani scale. Reflective blue, unmistakable. I found it the morning after, Diane explained. At the observation point where where I was watching the lights. It doesn't match any animal, any material I know. Through her earpiece, Nari was practically shouting. Terminate contact immediately. This violates all protocols. She has physical evidence. Kaya knew the implications were severe. Memory adjustment could alter perception, but physical evidence created complications. That Diane had kept the scale secret all these months suggested a level of awareness beyond what should be possible. May I see it? Kaya asked, extending her hand. Diane hesitated, then placed it in her palm. The scale felt warm, familiar. It must have detached during their final meeting when Kaya had revealed her true form. Fascinating. Kaya said, carefully returning it. What do you think it is? Diane reclaimed the scale, holding it protectively. Proof that I'm not crazy. That something happened here. Something they want us to forget. Kaya made a decision that she knew would have consequences. Nari would report her council member. Turan would revoke her already tenuous position. But sitting across from Diane, seeing her struggle between doubt and conviction, Kaya could not maintain the deception. What if your dreams are more than dreams? She said softly. What if they are memories? Diane's eyes widened. I knew it. You know something, don't you? The moment I saw you, I felt it. Like we've met before. Kaya nodded slightly. Yes, you were here 6 months ago. Diane pressed. When the lights appeared. Yes. Kaya confirmed, keeping her answers minimal, allowing Diane to lead. Diane studied her face intently, reaching out, suddenly to touch Kaya's hand. The contact sent electricity through Kaya's synthetic skin. The human gasped as if feeling the same jolt. Your eyes, she whispered. They changed. There was a flash of blue memory breakthrough. Nari warned through the earpiece. Physical contact is accelerating recall. You must disengage now. But Kaya couldn't move. Diane's hand on hers anchored her to the moment. The human was remembering, not in fragments, but in waves. Recognition dawning in her eyes. "You asked me a question," Diane said suddenly. Her voice trembled. "Do you love me, human?" "That's what you said." And I said yes. The perfect recall shocked Kaya. Memory adjustment should have obscured such specific details. The emotional imprinting had created resistance beyond anything documented in Sorani research. "You're not human." Diane continued, her voice barely audible. "You're one of them." From the ship, in her ear, Nari was frantic. "Containment breach, full adjustment protocol initiated. Extraction team en route. Disengage." "Immediately I have to go," Kaya said, standing abruptly. Diane grabbed her wrist. "Please don't leave, not again, I remember now. You showed me, you trusted me." The desperation in her voice tore at Kaya. But the extraction team would arrive within minutes. Their orders would include enhanced memory adjustment, which carried greater risks to human cognitive function. "I can't stay," Kaya said. "It's not safe for either of us." Diane stood as well, clutching the scale. "Take me with you." The request stunned Kaya. No human had ever been brought aboard a research vessel. Outside of diplomatic missions controlled by the High Council, it was strictly forbidden. "I can't," Kaya said, though everything in her wanted to accept. Diane stepped closer. "They'll make me forget again, won't they? That's what happened before you left, and they took my memories. But not all of them." I held on to you through her earpiece. Kaya could hear Nari tracking the approaching extraction team. 4 minutes to contact Kaya. "You must leave now. The human is compromised," looking into Diane's eyes. Kaya made a decision that would change both their worlds. "Come with me," she said. They moved quickly through back streets, avoiding main roads. Kaya guided them toward the woods where the shuttle waited. Hidden Diane followed without question, gripping Kaya's hand tightly. "What will happen?" Diane asked as they entered the tree line. "I don't know," Kaya admitted truthfully. "This has never happened before." Behind them, sirens sounded. Town security responding to reports of unusual activity. The extraction team would be coordinating with them using standard protocols. As they reached the shuttle, Kaya activated the camouflage field, revealing the small craft. Diane stared, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's real," she whispered. "All of it." Kaya helped her aboard, sealing the hatch. Behind them, lights flashed through the trees, the extraction team closing in. As the shuttle lifted off, Diane watched through the viewport as Riverdale receded below them. Her face reflected wonder, not fear. When the craft docked with the main ship hidden in orbit, Nari was waiting. Her scales flushed with color, signaling extreme distress. "You have violated every protocol," she stated. "The human cannot be here." Diane stepped forward despite her obvious awe at the alien surroundings. "I'm not leaving," she said with surprising firmness. "Not until someone explains everything." Nari turned to Kaya. "This breach cannot be contained. The Council will order immediate memory purge for both of you." Memory purge was far more severe than adjustment. It would erase not just emotional connections but all related experiences. Kaya would lose everything about the Riverdale mission. Everything about Diane. "There is another option," Kaya suggested. "We take our findings directly to the High Council. This case provides unprecedented evidence of interspecies bonding. It challenges our fundamental understanding of human capacity. And if they reject your interpretation," Nari asked, "then we accept the consequences," Kaya replied. "But we must try. The implications extend beyond us, beyond this mission. Memory adjustment, resistance, physical evidence retention, emotional imprinting. These observations could transform our approach to human contact." Nari considered this, her antenna twitching with rapid calculation. "The High Council values knowledge above all else," she acknowledged eventually. "Even forbidden knowledge." Over the next several hours, Kaya explained everything to Diane. Their initial meeting, the research, mission, her violation of protocols, the memory adjustment that should have erased their connection but somehow failed. Diane absorbed it all with remarkable composure. "So you were studying us," she said. "Not invading research only." Kaya confirmed. "Our species has been observing Earth for generations, always at distance until recently. And what happened between us? Diane asked. Was that research too? Kaya felt her scales warm with emotional response. No. That was unexpected, unprecedented. Between our species, emotional transference was thought impossible. Diane smiled slightly, touching the scale she still carried. Evidence that impossible things happen. As the ship broke orbit, beginning its journey to the Zorani homeworld, Nari approached. We have received communication from Council Member Torin. The High Council has agreed to hear your case. The human will be permitted to present her experience as evidence of memory, adjustment resistance. It was more than Kaya had hoped for. The High Council rarely involved non-Zorani in their deliberations. The fact that they would hear Diane suggested genuine scientific interest, rather than mere disciplinary concern. In the days that followed, Diane adapted to life aboard the ship with surprising ease. Her curiosity reminded Kaya of their first meeting. Her questions were insightful, her observations often revealing aspects of Zorani culture that the crew had never considered. One evening, as they observed Earth receding on the viewing screens, Diane asked the question Kaya had been expecting. Why me? Why did I remember when others forgot? Kaya considered the research data they had compiled. The neurological scans, the emotional imprints, the physical evidence. Science suggests strong emotional connections create memory pathways resistant to adjustment. Your feelings created a framework that preserved fragments. Diane turned to her. And your feelings? Did they help you resist too?